Okay, we are going to do the perpendicular bisector between 2 points, and in this case we're going to be doing the problem number 1, and we're going to be finding the perpendicular bisector between this point and that point. So that's what I'm going to show you. So we're just going to ignore number 2. I'm going to do all the work in this area, and that's what's going to happen. Let's try it. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we need the midpoint of, hold on, I want to make this line a little thicker. We need the midpoint between the 2 points, which, as we talked about in class, is the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So that would be 1 plus 5, or 6, over 2, because that's an average, and negative 1 plus 5, which is 4 over 2. So that just means I'm going to have a midpoint of 3, 2, and that'll be the point that the perpendicular bisector has to pass through. So we're going to need that value for x, this value for x, and this value for y. Next, we're going to need to find the slope between the 2 points. So that's our slope formula, which I know it as rise over run. You might know it as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be, let's use this again, y2 minus y1, that's the rise, and the run would be x2 minus x1. So I have a 5 minus negative 1 over 5 minus 1. The top is going to come out to be 6. The bottom is going to come out to be 4, which reduces to 3 over 2. So that's the slope between the 2 points, but we need a perpendicular bisector. So we need a slope that's perpendicular to that slope. So that means we need to find, oops, I don't want that. We need to do the perpendicular slope, and we should know that as the opposite reciprocal. So this was positive, this needs to be negative, and we need to flip it over upside down. So this becomes 2 over 3. So now we have everything we need pretty much. I'm going to write the point slope formula, or point slope form of a linear equation, across number 2. So just ignore number 2. We're not focusing on number 2. So it's y minus y1 equals m slope times x minus x1. Substituting, we have y minus, this is y1 up here, so y minus 2 equals the slope, this guy, negative 2/3 x minus the x1, which is that 3. So that's our linear equation in point slope form. To get it into slope intercept form, we need to distribute the slope to these 2 terms. So that means we're going to have y minus 2 equals a negative 2/3 x. And by distributing a negative 2/3 times 3, we're going to get a positive 2 because the 3's cancel out. The only thing left to do here is to add this 2 to both sides, and it's going to have to add to the other constant 2. So y is by itself. Our slope is still negative 2/3 x plus 4. That should be our final answer. So our final equation, which I will write in a nice fancy red, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4.